So around 4 months ago, I got messaged by Nixieworks asking, "Hello, my brother in Christ, would you like some belt kit?" And I said yes, and he sent me one of his Nixieworks LFRs. Now, I'm going to read you a little excerpt from the website on what the LFR's philosophy is. Move faster, go further, and fight more effectively with the Light Fighter rig from Nixieworks. The Light Fighter rig is a second and third line load-bearing harness designed to carry everything you need for dismounted patrolling operations lasting 1 to 3 days, consisting of a lumbar pack with integrated MOLLE belt and unique 6-point suspender harness. The Light Fighter rig is lightweight and comfortable enough to carry both your combat load and your bivouac sustainment gear. This is the core concept behind our Light Fighter rig. By replacing the rucksack with the lumbar pack integrated into the second line and pairing it with a 6-point suspender harness for a comfortable ride, our rig allows the user to carry his third line equipment without the mobility sacrifice of carrying a rucksack. Now, in my personal opinion, I do not think that is at all possible to be able to carry 1 to 3 days worth of everything without a rucksack. But that is just my personal opinion. Maybe other people can make it work. I carried my rucksack because I did not feel like putting 40 pounds worth of crap into that butt pack. But anyway, let's move on to the actual review of the physical product. The Nixieworks rig that I got came with 2 magazine pouches and then 4 GP pouches. And I pretty much put them together how it's been seen on the website alongside a few other items. So let's go over that. On my left side, I've got a magazine pouch with 2 magazines in it, my gloves and my knife. The suspension system is MOLLE and a buckle. And on my left side, the first GP pouch, I keep in there a lot of my land navigation tools, my protractor, map, Right in the Rain, pens, pencils, maps, etc. And then on the second GP pouch on my right side is my medical items, my IFAK, a SAM splint in case I break my leg or fracture it, and then a small boo-boo kit with bandages and all sorts of stuff. On my left side, I've got 3 magazines inside of the same suspension magazine pouch. The first GP pouch I have is one of these squares that was sent to me by Nixieworks. It's a water-resistant square that holds a lot of items. Once you finally get it out of there, I have a headlamp, butt wipes, permethrin in a can, trimming shears for scrim and moving shit, and then tick replacement, tick repellent, and a chem light, just for whatever reason. The bag itself is water resistant, so that's pretty nice. On the last GB pouch, which I thought is pretty unique, is a prayer bag. This is specific to Nixieworks as he is an Orthodox Christian. Inside, I keep a Bible, crucifix, rosary, and a little bottle of holy water for various reasons. The butt pack was stated to say that it was very large and very cumbersome, but in my opinion, it was not very large nor cumbersome. I fit pretty much every single thing that was in my Smirsh in there. But a gripe that I do have with this is the bottle canteen, I guess, places to put it there, like the little things. It's already hard enough to get something out of there, but putting it back together like that is kind of just eh. Inside, I have a bandolier with extra magazines and then a dry bag. And in this dry bag, I have an extra can of Rappel, which is broken. I didn't notice that until just now, so I got to replace that. Next, what I got in there is a little toothbrush kit with toothpaste and a toothbrush, and then a bug net for my head, because summer in the South is hell. And then the next thing I've got is a little thing of butt powder, because, you know, swamp ass sucks. Then I've got my mess kit, you know, fork, spoon, sponge for cleaning, nothing too crazy. Then I've got my Coleman, you know, heater right there in that bag. It's got the little head that goes onto it, and then a fire starting kit, because why not? The inside of the bag was actually pretty spacious. It was about the same spacious as a Smirsh butt pack. The only gripe that I really had was the 6-point suspender system. Putting it on, a lot of the time, I would get my arm stuck in that section right there. And this is all that you could fit in there, at least comfortably in my opinion. I will say a pro for this is that it is very much lighter than a Smersh loaded down. With the advent of modern warfare, a lot of the philosophy on belt rigs and just generally the way that LARPers and prepared civilians are running their equipment now, gotten into contact, and I've been chatting and philosophizing with Tier Wannabe and Meyer Flyer on what is the best approach for the future, and I'm just going to let Meyer Flyer explain the reasonings behind why we as a community, or at least myself, and hopefully my guys, will move a little bit away from sustainment and more towards the future of modern combat.
As for kit, mission dictates gear. I think the whole living out of your ruck, fucking SUT written for Vietnam, all this shit, it's outdated. Okay, I'm sorry. Patrol-based operations are outdated, and we gotta find a way to get around it. It's just like you can't just hike into the woods, make a patrol base, and then defend that patrol base anymore. And I'm pretty sure CivDiv talked about that in one of his videos, not specifically about patrol bases, but just about the concept in general of the battlefield now. And the battlefield is, like he said, I'm pretty sure, is anywhere worth fighting for is constantly being surveilled 24/7 by thermal drones. I get it, it's conventional war, it's different, right? That's not always going to be the case. I'm just saying that even like sheriff's departments have thermal drones now. Even hunters have thermal drones now. Hell, someone I know is going to build a thermal drone soon. You know, so to completely write off that is a mistake. Okay, if you want to, it depends upon the foliage and everything. And I'm not saying it's black and white. I'm just saying that things have changed, right? Things are different than they used to be. So I'm just gonna ruck into the woods and set up a patrol base. It's like, okay, what if a thermal drone spots you? Okay, and you get a fucking FPV flying into your fucking patrol base in the middle of the night. Boom! 3 guys are fucking dead.
Some of the modern bullet points for the reasonings why behind these philosophy changes is frag being 90% of the casualties, especially in close combat like trenches and bunkers and urban fighting like we're seeing in Ukraine, as well as drones. Running into patrol base ops and living out of your pack in the open is no longer really that viable. With small, cheap drones saturating the battlefield, traditional patrol bases or static positions become death traps. You know, you can't really live out of a sustainment system anymore. You can't live out of a patrol base anymore, like what Meyer said. And then some more ideas even further into the whole sustainment belt being useless in Tier Wannabe's position is he recently went to a GSG in one Shepherd event where they were doing trench raiding. And he talked to me a lot about how he didn't even have his sustainment belt on 90% of the time because he said that it got in the way of maneuvering through the trenches and he just kept his armor on. Sustainment belt kit has a place in time, but that time and place is very rare. Even in a civilian setting, when doing recce or some sort of patrol like that, you're not going to need You're not going to need pouches that hold a sleep system. It can be traded out for a ruck, and you can have just armor on and be able to move faster than having a full belt on. Tier Wannabe's experience at OSLI, raiding trenches and doing long movements, his belt got caught on branches and thorn bushes, and the overall size of the belt made lots of unnatural noise that could have given him away to the enemy op force. And in his experience, it was better for him to run something smaller and lighter on his chest, aka his armor setup. To me, with this new philosophy, this doesn't mean that we as a community or LARPers are going to be getting rid of belt kit necessarily, but for me, I like the Nixieworks rig. This is a review of the Nixieworks rig after all, but the philosophy is changing. The philosophy has changed. In my opinion, I think that the big butt pack, the sustainment only rig, a little bit of a fighting rig, I don't think that that's very much comparable to the modern state of warfare. With Nixieworks, I think it's a great product. I do really appreciate him sending me it. Modern thing for me is running armor plus LBE to kind of minimize the idea of just the LARPers out there who just run belt rig, and whenever they get into any type of contact, they're going to be shred on initial contact and immediately die because they have no protection of their anything. But not just only using armor because it is, the thing to do while using a battle belt. I think that there is a very fine line, as with Tier Wannabe's experience experience with the GSG event that, you know, in this moment with the raining trenches, taking off the belt was a good idea and using it as a bandolier. But during movements and such and getting into contact with in wilderness environments, I do believe that having the belt and the actual plate carrier will be a good idea. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope that this was very insightful and the review of the Nixieworks rig. Thank you and goodbye.